Back in episode 3 of the Nostalgic Thingummyjigger, we looked at the early days before Monty Python came into existence with Do Not Adjust Your Set, and how that laid the foundations for what was to come. But what about what happened after Monty Python's Flying Circus ended in 1974? We all know the group turned their attention to films, but individually, the Pythons went their separate ways and embarked on a fascinating series of solo projects. Michael Palin and Terry Jones collaborated on the comedy anthology series Ripping Yarns. Terry Gilliam, now having got the directing bug from co-directing Monty Python and the Holy Grail, laid on more medieval mud with Jabberwocky.
So terrifying.
Here on 2, Out of the Trees with Graham Chapman.
Graham Chapman did a one-off comedy called Out of the Trees, which was intended to have had a series, but that never happened.
Than the universe, a multitude of mighty...
And he also did a film with David Jason called The Odd Job. Well, John Cleese did some sitcom at a hotel. Do you know what happened? No.
I'll do the funny walk.
But what about Eric Idle? Well, he was about to embark on a journey that would take him to America, and he'd make a new best friend along the way. He'd make a series for BBC Two that would have a spin-off produced by the makers of Saturday Night Live, which would have a massive cult following in its own right.
All the stars, as you can imagine, are there waiting to talk to Pete Murray.
Hi, I'm Stuart Kenny, and on today's Nostalgic Thingummyjigger, we head to the East Midlands by way of BBC Bristol for Rutland Weekend Television. After Monty Python's Flying Circus had finished its 4th series, which John Cleese refused to do, Eric Idle was offered his own BBC show. As the only Python who wrote alone, compared to the writing partnerships of Chapman, Cleese and Jones Palin, Idle had always found it hard to get his material accepted by the other members of the team. But when it was accepted, it was very, very good.
Yes? I'm a bachelor myself. Is your wife a goer, eh? Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Nudge, nudge, know what I mean? Say no more.
Beg your pardon?
Your wife, does she go, eh? Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Does she go, eh?
She sometimes goes.
I bet she does, I'll bet she does. Say no more, know what I mean? Nudge, nudge.
The title for Rutland Weekend Television came from Cleese. Idle claims to have bought it off Cleese for £1, and Idle saw the amusement in the absurdity of Rutland, then the smallest county in England with an area of about 147 square miles and a population of roughly 30,000 people, having its own TV station. For Rutland to have its own television service would be very small, but to have a local TV service that only operates at weekends would be ridiculously small and counterintuitive. The name was a spoof of LWT, who covered London at weekends. In reality, Rutland being based in the East Midlands would at the time be covered by ATV, who never gave the East Midlands proper regional coverage, to the point where neighbouring regions Yorkshire and Anglia offered to take over the East Midlands, but that never happened. The average episode of Rutland Weekend Television would start off with a title sequence, or station ident if you will. Then we go into continuity, which would have a surreal off-kilter edge to it, and would get even more surreal over the top as the episode went on. As for example...
Hello, and welcome to Rutland Weekend Television. And we start off tonight's viewing with gardening time. Well, that was cookery time. And now, Floodlit Rugby League. Well, so much for Biggles. And now, here's Omar Sharif and cinema. Hello. Well, from swimming, we move on now to our next programme, from Earl's Court, the International Rabbit Show.
Then we go into the sketches, which is set the format of a TV show or a documentary. Most of these do feel like rejected Python sketches, but they are very, very good. Take this one from the very first episode, Gibberish.
Ham sandwich, bucket and water plastic, Duralex, rubber McFisher's underwear. Plug rapid emulsion, sick custard without sustenance in Kipling Duff geriatric scenery. Maximises press insulating devilment, grunting sapphire clubs, incidentally. But tonight, Sanpan Bombay Bermuda in diphtheria rustic McAlpine splendour. Rabbit and fut-fut-fooey jugs rapidly, big bio rule liners, must green gauges mixturate with nipples and tiptoe rusting machinery, rustically inclined. Good evening and welcome.
Hello.
Foreskin mousetrap view Mount Everest tin tray lobotomy in England.
Saddleback, saddleback. Lechery billboard kettle bum, simpering, snuff-masticated, bow-side, handset, lemonade enterprisingly appetite, rubberized, plum joint, curvaceously mucking squirrels.
I see. Rapidly piddle-pot strumming Hanover peace pudding mouse rumpling cutlery corridor cabinets.
Sick in a cup. Door jam whisper tap Sunderland shower curtain, iced wallpaper cups crouchingly, rubber king wrap buttock kissing feathers, definitely pheasantry daughter, successfully douche, dinner bottom.
Machine wrapped with butter.
Machine wrapped with butter.
So, nail-attacking butterfly clouts, reputedly. With that I might galvanise sugar. Elbow-wrenchingly heartfelt until poor Spain. Perspicaciously raddled mandibles on asinine shoestring, drawn to lost 3 butter machismo, were never cobbled therein. Good night.
Good night.
I bet the other Pythons are kicking themselves for rejecting that one. But what you might have noticed is that there's no canned laughter. And that's because it was done on a very low budget. According to Eric Idle, it was done on a shoestring budget and somebody else wearing a shoe. But this is a kind of a point. If Rutland did have a TV service, it would be even smaller than Grampian or Border. However, it parodies regional programming and documentaries that stations like that would make, and take it to ridiculous lengths, with a version of War and Peace done entirely in Rutland.
Coming shortly on Rutland Weekend, a new dramatisation of one of the world's longest books. Malicious Glimpf has taken Leo Tolstoy's very long story War and Peace and turned it into a very long television series. Set in the elaborate and extremely long world of 19th century Russia, it tells at great length the story of people caught up in the monumental and long Napoleonic Wars. Filmed expensively on location in Rutland, you can see the might and majesty and length of the French army as it advances on Moscow, led by one of the greatest emperors equity has ever produced. Emmanuel Griffin plays Napoleon for all he's worth. It tells, too, the simple and moving tale of a pretty girl in love with a puffy actor. Natasha, torn between her love of close-ups and overacting. This classic love story unfolds amid some of history's most expensive and long scenes. See Moscow in flames. And watch the appalling horrors of the acting in the retreat from the burning city. All this to the noisy music of Tchaikovsky on Rutland Weekend's classically long series, War and Peace.
Or 24 hours in Tunbridge Wells.
Laughing and clowning American sailors who have 24 hours liberty in one of the most exciting towns in Kent, Tunbridge Wells.
The most exciting place in the world for sailors.
We're the most exciting, wicked, naughty gals. More exciting than a book of Norman Mailers. That's Tunbridge Wells. We're on our way to Tunbridge Wells. Tunbridge Wells passes magic spells. We spend all day in Tunbridge Wells and smell all the Tunbridge Wells smells. Where the
women are women, the men are rougher and tougher than the worst of hells. They're at Tunbridge, Tunbridge, Tunbridge Wells.
Behind the scenes, Idol did the script, but there was another creative addition, a musical edition courtesy of Neil Innes. As you recall, Idol and Innes worked together on Do Not Adjust Your Set. After that, Neil Innes would tour on the Python stage shows, work on their albums, and even contributed songs and appeared in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And Innes even wrote a few sketches for the 4th series of Monty Python. Here, Innes would get 1 or 2 songs per episode, including this one, Say Sorry Again, where Innes plays all the Marx Brothers.
Dodos to back, refusing to say a word, having a lover's quarrel over something truly absurd. But you're the last of your species, the other animals cry. Make up your differences, do. Forget your foolish pride and say sorry again. Say sorry again. Never mind who's to blame. There's no sense in calling names, so say sorry again. Don't let a good love die. You could be combined, two hearts intertwined. If you say sorry again, expression time.
This boy's got magic in his fingers. You should keep him up his sleeve.
But the dodos remained unmoved, and as the sun began to sink, she held her head up high, and he pretended to think. All the animals cried in dismay, saying, what's the good of advice to creatures such as dodos, who find stubbornness so nice? So say sorry again. Say sorry again. Why don't you admit you were wrong? Who wise your will so strong? So say sorry again. An apology isn't so bad. The whole human race will spit in your face if you don't say sorry again. Take it away. For the better. Well, the proof of the animal's wisdom is quite apparent today. How many dodos do you know? They're not even put on display. So say sorry again. Say sorry again. When the last spell is wrong, don't just stick out your tongue. Just say sorry again.
Innes would also act in the series. The other parts were taken up by character actors, including David Batley, best known from the BBC sitcom That's Your Funeral, which was made into a film by Hammer. There was Henry Wolfe, a theatre actor who had appeared in the Rocky Horror Picture Show and the Steptoe and Son sequel. And then there was Gwen Taylor, who also came from theatre and TV, and you'd usually see her on continuity duties where things got out of hand. There was also a house band called Fatso, who had appeared during Innes' musical numbers. The first series lasted 6 episodes. According to Neil Innes, it was done in Presentation B at BBC Television Centre, where they used to do the old weather forecasts from. Idol claimed they had to bring the sets up and down 4 floors for each scene. Rutland Weekend Television was broadcast in May 1975, and it did well, getting good reviews and healthy ratings for BBC Two, and it showcased Idol's abilities as a writer and performer, while it also gave Neil Innes good exposure for his songs. He'd give the songs to Idol, who come up with an appropriate setting for them, as with this one, Concrete Jungle Boy, which Idol used to work in a spoof of Ken Russell's Tommy, here called Pommy.
Snapping my fingers, looking for fun, I'm a concrete jungle boy. Wearing my shirt with the buttons undone, I'm a concrete jungle boy. The music is loud.
After Series 1, Idol went to Los Angeles to promote Monty Python and the Holy Grail. While out there, Idol met George Harrison. The two would remain inseparable for weeks afterwards, which was a blessing as the BBC commissioned a Christmas edition of Rutland Weekend Television for that year. I'd asked Harrison if he'd like to take part, and Harrison jumped at the chance, appearing as Pirate Bob.
Sweet Cyril Lord, etc., etc. But first of all,
30 pieces of parrot.
Good evening.
Hi, Long John.
Yes, very nice. Yes, you'll be able to sing in a minute, thank you.
I sing?
Yes, in a minute, ladies and gentlemen, the incomparable larynx of the quiet one from the Fab Four will be here to sing you some of his best hits.
I'm not here to sing, I'm here to act.
Act?
Yes.
Here?
Yes, I didn't lie on the dead man's chest. The pirate sketch.
No, I'm sorry, there's no pirate sketch down on the running order, I'm afraid. No pirate sketch down here, see?
No pirate sketch?
No.
Well, up you then.
Yes, but you can sing, you know. Well now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for, Mr. George Harrison sings.
Then the episode ended with a live performance by Harrison.
A pirate's life for me. All my friends are pirates and they sail the BBC. I got a jolly Roger, it's a black and white and fast. So get out of your skull and crossbones and I'm running up your mast. With the yo-ho-ho and a-ha-ha-dee-ha-ha-ho. Yo-ho-ho and a-ha-ha-dee-ho-yo-yo-yo-yo. I got a jolly Roger, it's a black and white and fast. So get out of your skull and crossbones, I'm running up your mast. Altogether I like to be a pirate's life for me. And all my friends are pirates and sail the BBC. Got a jolly Roger, it's a black and white fast. So get out of your skull and crossbones, running up your mast.
After this, Series 2 followed in late 1976, with a new open parodying Anglia's Night. It lasted 7 episodes, now made at BBC Bristol in a slightly larger studio but with no bigger budget. This series featured the Rutles, which would lead to the spin-off. In October 1976, Eric Idle went to New York to host NBC's Saturday Night Live, taking the clip of the Rutles with him. Saturday Night Live's executive producer Lorne Michaels saw potential, and that led to All You Need Is Cash, with Idle writing directing duties and Neil Innes doing all the songs.
The Rutles story is a legend, a living legend. A legend that will live long after lots of other living legends have died. Tonight, we are extremely proud to present the semi-legendary life story of the Prefab Four, Dirk, Nasty, Stig and Barry, who made the 60s what they are today, the fabulous Rutland.
Some of Rutland Weekend Television's cast appeared, as well as Saturday Night Live's then up-and-coming talent, including Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi and Bill Murray. George Harrison would turn up, as did Michael Palin.
Are these allegations true?
No, they're conjecture, you know. They're sort of rumour.
Another big guest included Mick Jagger, Paul Simon and Ronnie Wood. A lot of time and effort went into making this special. Harrison had a big hand in the production, giving Idol access to Apple Corp's archives for research purposes, and it wouldn't be the last time Harrison would help Idol, but that's another story. The special didn't make that much of a splash when it aired on NBC in America, but it did a lot better when BBC Two showed it in March 1978. But the special and its accompanying soundtrack album would be cult hits in the following years, with Innes touring with the Rutles and Idol doing the sequel years later. As for Rutland Weekend Television, these days it's not as well remembered as the Rutles, but at the time, Rutland Weekend Television did well enough on BBC Two to get its own spin-off album, the Rutland Weekend Songbook, and a publication, the Rutland Dirty Weekend Book, which made fun of TV, film and music magazines of the time, complete with fake TV listings and a copy of Rutland Stone. But since then, the series have been seldom repeated, although Satellite Channel UK Arena gave it airing about 20 or so years ago, but it hasn't been seen since, not even on video or DVD. There have been varying reasons. Some put it down to music rights, while others claim Idol isn't happy with the series, although that last thing's been disputed. However, all episodes are on YouTube, but it's a very funny and surreal little post-Python sketch show. This was Eric Idle's All Things Must Pass, an accumulation of a lot of sketches written put to good use, and it gave him and Neil Innes good exposure, and it showed how talented they were. It definitely deserves to be repeated again, as it shows you can do a lot with a very limited budget, a bit how a small ITV region would have to in those days. And it's a shame it's been forgotten. If Fawlty Towers can get repeated ad infinitum, why not this? I think it's time the world revisited this long forgotten show. They could learn something from it. Thank you ever so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos too. Also, I'm on Facebook and Twitter if you want to drop by and say hello. And I have a Patreon if you want to see me do specific subjects or if you want to donate. Bye bye for now.
Well, nude religion brings to a close our programmes for today. So until next week, a very goodbye from me. Rutland Weekend Television is closing down now, so we hand you back to ATV.